noises. I'm like, what is that?
Alrighty, everybody, welcome to the LTA show. Happy New Year to everybody. 2022. I got Christian.
How's it going, everyone? Christian here.
If you don't know him, then you're sleeping under a rock or something. You're missing out, man. This dude is OG. He's been in multiple episodes. If you haven't checked him out, go check him out so you know who this person is, this special person. How was your New Year, man?
It's pretty good. I can't complain, man. You know, just stayed at home. Didn't do anything crazy, but just oh crap! Look at the camera.
I'll keep adjusting it. But
Anyways,
keep going.
I didn't do really anything much, but what I did do was count my blessings. I was at home. I was under a warm roof and everything, and had some good food. And yeah, man, I just promised myself that each year's just gonna get better, and that's a fact, man. How about yourself, Felix? Is there anything else you thought about in terms of resolutions?
I think for resolutions, definitely trying to get more podcast episodes. I'm glad to have Christian back into this because 2021 was very cool. It was interesting. A lot of episodes compared to last year, and I strive to do the same thing, posting more episodes, some more talks, maybe something in the future, another plan. We'll discuss some announcements that we've got, some exciting projects that we've done already. I'd say New Year's resolutions, I don't really have that many because I feel like if I make them now, then I'm like pressured to do it, or like a time restraint.
Of course.
But I think if I was to make a goal, it would just be to keep running. I don't know, it's just a nice little hobby. I like to have like a hobby, one hobby that keeps me exercising, one that keeps me creative. So maybe it's like drawing and all that other stuff. One that one that's a good habit, I guess. Just trying to make habits, good daily habits.
Sure.
Maybe a hobby to make money, like a side hustle. That'll probably be my goal, but other than that, just keep posting content, document.
Okay.
Any goals for you? Anything that like comes into your mind?
Well, first of all, you made an excellent point, about the fact that they're, setting time, frames and deadlines. That's probably like the worst thing you can do to yourself when it comes to resolutions. You should never do that to yourself. You're just going to pressure yourself and then you're going to give up, So my resolutions is to be productive in like the media space, just like Felix here with the LTA podcast and stuff, with my own channel. I also want to be more, just probably try new things, going out more, maybe perhaps road trips or something. I mean, we're going to Tahoe. For those who don't know, then I'm going to start snowboarding. So we'll see how that goes. I'm ready for the wipeout. So that's all I'm going to say right now. But yeah, I'm not going to set a deadline for these things. When it's going to happen naturally because I just don't want to, say, yeah, it's supposed to happen this time or by the next 3 months or so. So just keep on pushing, take it day by day. And like those things will just happen out of nowhere before you even know it. So, yeah.
Dude, that's pretty good though. I feel like nowadays a lot of people are realizing that New Year's resolutions don't really work.
Oh, yeah.
It's not bad to set the goals, but it's also like, why would you want to start like when it's January, Might as well just start any other day, any other month.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, everybody's just so inclined to start changing once that new year hits. It's like, why not just start now,
Yeah, and I think one of the funniest drawbacks when I see people online, they'll even be jokes like, man, I already messed up this year. 2023 is my year for real, though. They'd be saying things like that. I think any day could be your day, right? I feel like you could change as a person in a month. You could change in 2 weeks. So, don't let just 1 year, even if you start off in a bad way, don't let that discourage you from just pushing forward because then you'll realize, tomorrow's a new day. That could be a new you. And that's all that matters at the end of the day. So don't take it year by year because then before you know it, you're going to be an old person. You're just going to be like, damn, man, like, I really
2080 is my year.
2899 is my year for real, man. So don't do it, man, before it's too late. You're gonna regret it. So just take it day by day. Treat each day like it's a year. That's what I'll say right now. And yeah, you'll be doing just fine. I promise you that.
That's a good point. I know a lot of people like get easily ashamed when it feels like it's not the year, but I feel like looking at other people's mindsets, like for example, like Olympians, like they have to dedicate 4 years just to work on their craft.
Oh yeah.
And to say like, oh, this next year, it's like for them, they got only a deadline. Like they have to they have to be ready by that 4th year when the Olympics open. Like, it doesn't matter what happens. Like the only exception was Tokyo when like COVID hit. They had to postpone it to 2021 instead of 2020 because everything closed down. But it's very rare for another thing like that to happen. So just like, yes, they do have a time constraint, but at the same time, they're not being worried about that year that they messed up when they can just keep going at it because they still got that time left. You still have a lot of time. I think a lot of people, especially our age, and I would agree to it because it's happened. I feel like I'm like kind of rushed or feeling like I need to get more stuff, like not like materialistic, but like more just I need to do more achievements, more accomplishments. Like I feel like it's just it can get dangerous when I'm like comparing myself to other people, being like I'm not as good as so and so. But then I look back and say, well, I wasn't the same person as I was last year. Same person I was in high school. Like it definitely changed. A nice little intermission. The train going by. I think it's gonna be interesting. 2022. It definitely is a new start for a lot of people, for both of us as well. A lot of new things are going on, especially with like crypto. We've seen a lot of big changes. I think we might go into it. We'll see, but that's an example for 2022. As the train goes by, it takes its sweet time going through.
Big announcement.
Hey, that's a perfect way.
We'll find out until next time.
Yeah, like anything you would like to talk about, or you want to just dive right into some interesting topics?
I want to ask you, and this is no deadline thing or anything, but like, what's your ideal vision of a podcast, in the future? Like,
my ideal?
Yeah, I'm not saying like, do you expect to be at this level at this time? More like, what's your ideal, like, not that you're content at the end of it, but like,
what's your like kind of end goal? Like, what are you trying to accomplish?
What's your vision of this thing becoming, like, into a bigger aspect of it? Like, what's what are you looking for this to be as an outcome? You know what I mean?
Like, what's like the main reason why I'm doing like this podcast?
Like, are you hoping to get a fan base? Like, you want people to relate to this? Like, like Joe Rogan, I like talking about Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
You want to be as big as him, or would you like to, just be that one guy in like a low-key community, has like a super, dedicated fan base, or like what are you looking for? Or is it just like that unknown future that gets you really excited? Like you just don't know what direction it's heading.
That's a great question. I would say at first when I started the podcast, it was just to share thoughts, see if anybody can relate to it. But as I started doing podcasting for the LTA show, I realized like I just enjoyed having conversation with people and like conversations that I can look back to. And I just got into it because I talk a lot about it and it's gonna get annoying for some viewers, but Gary Vee, man, that dude, he says just document because like it's nice to be able to have all this content and then looking back into a couple of years, seeing like how much I've grown and showcasing like, hey, this is what I've done. I've gone through a long way, and maybe if somebody is dealing with the same thing I'm dealing with, they can look back at my content, see what they can improve upon, because I'm not trying to like be like, oh, I'm better than you. It's just here's where I started off. Maybe you could be way better than me. You can have something in mind that you want to do. And I think that unknown, like at first, my goal was honestly just to get a sponsorship, not like to make a lot of money, but just the fact that like, hey, I'm getting sponsored by this episode. It's really cool to see. But now it's just, I want to keep putting content. I want to hear what other people have, because everyone has a story.
Of course. Yeah.
Like, and everyone's story is different. You don't know where they started from, and you don't know until you ask them. So it's always interesting to see, and like what kind of experience, because sometimes you just never expect that person to be doing all this stuff.
It's crazy.
What they've done before. You never know.
They have a lot of things hidden under those layers, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Give me a second.
We'll be right back. Talking about?
We were talking about the goals for my podcast.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I'd also say with documenting, hearing another person's story, it was also just to see what I can do. Like, okay. I've kind of had that podcast idea in my mind, like, before the COVID hit. And then once everyone was isolated, everyone had time to do. Everyone had a lot of free time, so I figured might as well just make it because like, you know, we have all this time at home.
Why not?
I can hang out or do, you know, Zoom calls. I can do that, and we can test it out, and that's what we did. And then I really enjoy the process of it.
For sure.
It's not really a chore. It's more just a fun hobby. Like I said, a hobby that keeps you creative and, you know, could potentially become a side hustle.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy because it feels like yesterday when the pandemic just hit.
Yeah.
You were like, "Hey Christian, how are you doing during the pandemic?" I'm like, you know, just bought a couple people for toilet paper. I'm doing fine. How about you? You know?
Yeah.
That was a joke. I never did that, but but you know, he was like, "Hey, anyways, would you like to join my podcast? You know, something I've been wanting to do for a while. You know, I think you already have like a couple episodes in, I think." And I was like,
yeah.
So I was like, okay, cool. So this is a thing he's kind of been doing for a little while. I'm like, why not, you know? And, you know, I was pretty nervous. I was like, holy crap. Like, for all I know, this guy could just, like, rake in some millions of views. And, you know, I'm out here slacking. Don't know how to talk on a live audience, you know? Like, it was a lot of pressure on myself, you know? Me personally. Because I was like, what kind of podcast is this, you know? And, yeah, the more I did it, the more I got comfortable doing it, you know? And, yeah, I mean, I want to thank Felix for that because, I mean, look, we're still doing it to this day. It's 2022, 2 years later. And, you know, we're here outside where the train blows.
The same exact location.
Yeah, so I'm really thankful for this.
You know, I'd say I'm very proud of you. Like, because honestly, when I first started the podcast, like, I was afraid of what I was going to say.
Okay.
Like, the first episode, before it was even released, just to give some background information, the three of us, me, Tristan, and Ian, we were like thinking about what kind of podcast we wanted, and we agreed it was going to be like a debate. And then in order to become a debate, we wanted to be kind of structured, so like we did our research ahead of time. And then we kind of just like were like reading a little bit off of like a script, you know. But then I realized like it didn't feel as genuine, and like I still was like afraid of like kind of like just freestyling it, you know, going off the top and just talking about whatever we want at that moment. But I've enjoyed it. I've definitely had a lot of more interesting conversations that way. And I would agree, like, I was super nervous. I was like, so today we're going to try something very new. We're just going to talk about whatever. But then I slowly got into it, and then, like, just like you, man, we're both growing together without even you realizing it. Like, we were both helping each other out.
You know, just taking a step back again, when you guys were thinking about this podcast, what kind of, like, debates were you thinking? Because just the thought of you and, you know, Tristan just having a debate just sounds really hilarious to me.
It was interesting because you can still see it on the LTA show. It's like the very first episode. It was it was card game controversy. So we were basically going off of like all the card games we played as a kid, so like Go Fish, Solitaire, Blackjack, all those other like card games we played as a kid.
For sure.
And we kind of just made like a tier list.
Okay.
And we gave reasons why we thought this card game was better. And like it was interesting at first, but I don't know, like it was nice if you're like into debates. But if you just want to like hear about other people's day, like interesting conversations, then it wasn't really the podcast at the time.
It was more like you knew what to expect, so it kind of ruined the fun of it, kind of in a way.
It did ruin a little bit of the fun. It was more, but then it became like a specific niche for only people that like are intrigued of hearing debates and like, you know, are open-minded. Whereas like for this, it's like it's super open-ended. Like you could talk about like crypto with one guest, and then the next guest you can talk about like horseback riding. You know, it's not like super specific, so it's very nice for just anybody that wants to get a little bit of what the podcast show is about, but like also find a specific thing they want to listen to.
Yeah,
you know?
I think variety is like the perfect thing, you know. If you just stick to yourself to one thing, whether, you know, you're doing a podcast or making videos, I think it's very important that you switch it up, whether it's like games or, you know, like you said, conversations or all these things. So I think just keeping it, you know, fresh and new is what's going to keep this more alive, you know what I mean?
More genuine.
Yeah, more genuine, you know? It's kind of like, oh, you know, what about this? It's like, oh, shit, you want to go with that? It's like, that's what keeps it exciting, you know what I mean? But whereas you have it all pre-planned out, it's like, all right, so the next thing we're doing is talking about, you know?
Yeah, it's like reading off a script. All right, intermission. It's like a performance, you know?
Yeah.
Like you have like a little roster of what the schedule's looking like. You're like, oh no.
It kind of feels like you're acting in a sort of sense, right?
Yeah.
With a little bit of improv, but hey.
Intermission number 2.
don't want you to know the truth.
Hey, they're trying to cut us off. They're trying to cancel us. Trying to cancel, man.
Oh boy.
No, but it's very interesting. You bringing that up.
Yeah, no. I mean, I just find it really, interesting when I ask people, like, hey, what do they see? How do they see themselves doing this various thing that they're doing at the moment? And like, I don't want to say years time because I don't want to put a limit on you, but in the future, at some point, as long as we're still alive, at one point, do you like what's your ideal? You know what I mean? Outcome. So, yeah, when I'm making videos, man, I think, I hope people could just like watch this and just have a laugh. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that was pretty goofy. And this and that. I really don't have any standard. Like the first videos, I was like, all right, I gotta be more chill. I can't talk this much. I gotta say a few words because I don't want to like intercept like the dialogue.
Yeah.
But the more I got more comfortable, I'm like, I'm sitting back, all relaxed. I eventually added like a webcam. You know what I mean? And I'm just doing my thing. I'm not acting. I'm playing as if like the camera doesn't exist, as if the microphone doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I think it's safe to say that I reached that comfort level at this point. You know what I mean? So. As long as it's my setup, of course. If it's someone else's, like, yo, hop in here, it's like, oh shit. It's like, I don't know, how do they do things here? You know what I mean? Kind of like the podcast the first time. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it just like your gaming is like very relatable to like how other people would go approaching of like trying to like be entertaining to a large group of people when they've never done it before.
Of course.
Kind of like public speaking as well. Like at first it's like really nervous, but then like once you start doing it, practicing, like actually being exposed to other people, like you slowly become like I wouldn't say like you don't care. It's more of just you're not really worried about, you're not like self-conscious of like every single little thing you're doing. Like, oh my gosh, am I breathing too much? Am I like, is my clicking too loud? Am I gesturing weird? Like it's like, the more you keep doing it, you just don't really need to like waste your energy focusing on something you're doing wrong.
It's exhausting, to say the least.
Yeah.
Because then you're like looking back to you're like, well, I'm gonna look up that one part where I was at this part of the game because that kind of sounded weird, And they're doing like the playback, and you're like, oh man, should I cut that out? But it's like an important part of the story. It's like, oh shit. But at this point, I'm like, what? I don't care. As long as there's the worst case scenario for me, as long as I don't like hit my mic by accident, it goes boom, boom,
Yeah.
That's the only thing I'm cutting out. But everything else, I'm keeping in. You know what I mean? And I have friends who are like, hey man, you should try this game out. And, that's what I'm currently doing. Expanding my horizons and stuff. And they'll give me feedback. Hey man, like that was pretty good. Like just keep it up. You know what I mean? Like perhaps just turn up the the audio a little more.
Yeah.
And you should be chilling. So there's friends out there really like trying to give me like actual good advice of what they see from the point of view from the audience. So I mean, to those I really appreciate that. Because it means a lot. Because you never know how far that could go in the future. That's honestly what kind of gave me motivation to just keep going. I'm like, oh shit, so people are actually watching this in a long duration, and he's actually watching every single thing. Because like I know for a fact he was, because he was like, yeah, everything was good up until the end. It started being a little choppy. I'm like, oh shit, like he actually got in. He was actually intrigued the whole time until the end, where like my capture card started acting a little dumb and became a little choppy. So. Yeah, man, I mean, those are the little things, man, in life that just, like, pushes you to keep going, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, is there any instances in your situation that other people, like, honestly, motivation comes from within, most of all, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, is there any little things that kind of, like, boosted that from other people, like saying things about your projects? And it could be about anything. It could be the podcast, right?
I'll give one example of a podcast, or the podcast that I'm doing, and then another example of something not related. For the podcast, whenever I recorded with like somebody that I invited, so for example, like you, or maybe like a Trader Joe's coworker, or somebody that like I've been in close contact with, but just never really told them about the podcast. At first, they were like hesitant, like they were actually like super afraid of what they were gonna say.
Oh yeah.
And like even before like we recorded, like right before we were just about to start, like I checked in with them, like I'm gonna just do like a brief introduction, and then I'll like ask you a simple question, and then we'll kind of go off from there. A lot of them were like kind of afraid at first because they thought they have to like talk about a specific subject. Like let's say like if I'm like inviting you to a podcast, you're gonna think, oh, like do I have to only talk about this topic? Well, it was more just like, you can talk about whatever. And like at first it sounds a little like surprising to them, But once they started talking about what they were passionate about, and I could like tell from just how they're talking, like after the podcast ends, they really did. They end up saying to me like, I enjoyed it. Like it was great. Like they don't even think about all the things that they said.
Yeah.
They're not like worried about it because they enjoyed what they said.
Yeah.
And I'm happy for them because like first off, it was a great podcast session. No matter what the situation, no matter what we talk about, I always enjoy having a guest.
Sure.
First and foremost, to actually contribute into this big project, because I couldn't have done it without you and all the other guests that I've invited. I can only do so many individual episodes to the point where like it kind of can like only get at a certain level. Like I just eventually stopped getting higher. So yeah, it was because of the guests. They've enjoyed talking, so that makes me pumped to get more guests going.
Of course.
Have them come back to a show like you. Like
yeah.
you enjoyed it.
I appreciate it very much, man. Honestly, it's still a privilege, and I still don't take it for granted to this day. And I'm honored to be here. So
I appreciate it. Now, for a non-podcast example, I would say when I was streaming. So I know I briefly mentioned it in one of my podcasts, but I do stream Twitch. I started in February, and I've still been streaming to this day. It's been a crazy, fun journey. The first goal was to hit like 50 followers. And once I hit that, I was super pumped, and then it was like, okay, I'm gonna try and hit 100. Honestly, the 50 wasn't a big goal. It was more of reaching that 100 mark, because that really kind of tells you like
it's like a milestone.
It's a nice milestone. Like, don't get me wrong, like 50 is really good, but just like 100 just came into my mind.
Yeah. I feel like 100 on Twitch is way bigger of a deal than on YouTube, right?
Yeah, because you have to like somehow get them engaged and like leave a good impression.
And you're live.
Yeah.
Which is something I respect so much when it comes to Twitch streamers, man. I can't see myself doing that currently. It seems like a lot of pressure, you know what I mean? So
at first, like, I was super worried about what I was gonna say and what kind of game. I thought, like, when I first started a week, I was like, oh, maybe my gameplay might not be as great or like entertaining to watch compared to like some big, streamers out there.
Of course.
But then I slowly just like didn't really care about how many viewers I got, and didn't really care like if I was playing badly.
Yeah.
It was just, am I enjoying the game? And then once I started enjoying the game, and kept streaming consistently, I eventually got like some small people, visiting the channel. Shout out to you, to those small individuals, not small, but the loyal followers. You know who you are. But when they visit, I have like a quick introduction, like ask them how their day's going. First and foremost, if they're new to the stream or if they're reoccurring, how are you? Haven't seen you in a while. What have you been up to? What do you do? And then that's kind of like helped give a friendly vibe to somebody.
Of course.
And then I've noticed that some of them actually do come back because of how friendly I am, and I'm like super grateful. I do remember just like some small interactions I've had with them, like seeing what they're up to in their daily life, and just like genuinely, I enjoy having that small conversation with them. Like,
yeah,
like, your day's been good? Great. Oh, your day's been bad? I'm really sorry to hear about that. Like, I feel really close to them, even though I can't physically see them, but they can see me.
Yeah.
So it gives them like a friendlier vibe.
Of course.
And I do remember there was one time when I was streaming, I was playing Minecraft.
Oh shit.
And there was one viewer, he was younger than us. He needed help with math, and I was like, okay, I'll help you, because like he was a returning viewer. I was like, okay, I'm down to help you. And then what I did was I went on Minecraft, and I was like trying to help him with the blocks I was using. I was trying to give him like visually how to solve a problem.
Creative.
And it actually worked, and I was super pumped because like he enjoyed learning, like because he thought he wasn't as smart as other people, and I wanted to bring that like like confidence into him, and like
sure,
it did end up helping him, and I hope he's learned from it, and like it's motivated him to keep going. But after that, like just seeing his reaction, like in the comments, like messaging, it was just really wholesome. And then I just was like, you know what, I enjoy streaming, even if I only have this one viewer.
For sure.
Like just that moment of interaction, instead of me just like being a big streamer, I don't see the chat because everyone keeps sending like spam and all that. So like just
or like rating your stream or something.
I'd rather just be a small streamer and have like close connections with everybody that I see than being a big streamer and not knowing the daily viewers are.
Yeah. I think that's something I find pretty impressive. People that can multitask. It's kind of like you said, how they communicate with their like chat viewers and stuff. Like you'll see people playing like COD or Fortnite or whatever, and it's like, oh man, how you doing? Oh man, I've been good. And then and then like, they're still kicking ass in the game. I'm like, how the hell are they doing that? I mean, I just find it really impressive. And it's like you said, like those little interactions, it really makes people's day. So I mean, it's a good thing you're doing that, man. And it seems like you taught someone some knowledge, and you kind of showed them that their self doubt was just, it was self doubt, but it kind of proved them wrong. That they're actually more smart than they thought they were. You know what I mean? So, I mean, good for you, man.
Yeah, it was nice. And I'm honestly, my next goal for streaming this year is just to keep doing it.
For sure.
I don't really have a particular like follower I'm trying to reach. It's more just making sure I can be consistent now, and not really giving up that, because I've already invested in so much time. Like, don't get me wrong, if I need to quit, I will give myself that, instead of like holding myself like, oh, I've already done this years, like I can't quit now. Like, I'm not trying to say that. It's more of like, because I just started, I shouldn't give up so easily.
No, of course, yeah. It's that. I think that's like the hardest part. It's like your mental. You know what I mean? That's the thing that kind of makes you like, oh, should I stop doing this? But as long as you keep pushing forward, I think that's what kind of gives you the more, like the reward in your brain. Like the discipline to keep striving forward, despite with your negative thoughts and stuff. So.
Yeah, I mean, to keep going on to streaming, I will say that like towards like the halfway mark of, I'd say like summertime, I was like almost burnt out just streaming. Like, it wasn't that I was pressured, it was more just I want to keep streaming.
Yeah.
Like, I guess like that drive, it was more just I want to keep logging in hours, which was like kind of dangerous because like, one, you can clearly tell that I was tired, but I was still playing.
For sure.
And like, looking at that, I can definitely see why Twitch is very hard to be famous. Not saying it's impossible, but it's a lot harder because it is live stream, and you have to have just that great first impression. Because whenever someone sees your channel, they're gonna look at it like maybe 10 seconds, see if it's interesting or not, and then they'll leave. And a lot of Twitch streamers have to keep making content, even outside of their Twitch, YouTube, Twitter. They have to be interacting with their viewers like that.
Yeah, it's like it's a very saturated platform, so a lot of people trying to do the same thing, and I feel that's when I say like as long as you enjoy doing it, that's like the important part, because there's a lot of people who they kind of give themselves unrealistic expectations and goals, and then that kind of discourages them from continuing on forward. So I mean, I feel like as long as you keep doing it naturally and you enjoy doing it, that's all that matters at the end of the day, right? Because that's what's stopping you there, right? You're enjoying it. You're playing as if you've been playing without streaming. So I mean, it just depends on who you are and what you're really looking forward to doing.
Yeah. Now let me ask you the question.
Oh shoot.
And I know you've been going to the gym a lot, and I respect the grind, bro. Like, it's crazy, 4 a.m., bro. Yeah. To give some context, that's what he's been doing on
4 a.m. on Tuesday, Thursdays. Okay. And then other days it's 6 a.m. and onwards.
So out of those 2 days, 4 a.m. grind mindset. It's pretty crazy. I respect it very, very much, because not many can wake up at 4 a.m. consistently.
It took 2 years, man.
Wow. Yeah. That's a lot of discipline, man.
Yeah. It took 2 years, and I'm still halfway there. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I still got the other half. It's like that thing that they call a plateau. When it kind of stops at some point. But I'm just motivated, because every time I get out of there, I just feel this natural high. You know what I mean? Like, no, I'm not talking about substances or anything, but it's way different.
It's like a body, or like a
body high, right?
I would say, it's more like yes, it is natural. It's not like you're relying on like a drug or something to like wake you up, or like that.
Yeah, it's the best kind of high, man.
It's a natural body response, that kind of stuff.
Trust me when I say this. Like, you're not only are you getting that like high, but like, you're being productive, and that's what you're being rewarded with. And whereas you take like substances or alcohol, you're just kind of sitting on your ass and just being stimulated, but you don't really get anything out of it.
Now, let me ask you, so like during those 4 a.m.s, like do you have a particular goal or like, like something that you want to do a little differently this year? Like, are you planning on like doing more than 2 days of 4 a.m. grind? Or are you going to be boxing more like during that?
I wanna switch up like my routine, like add more things into it.
Yeah.
Because like there's a lot of things I just do the same over and over again. It's like a broken record kind of thing. But I mean, something that I would like to add was probably go to evenings. I'm not sure yet, but if I can do evenings, I'll add like more different varieties of exercises to my my normal routine.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I just feel like the morning kind of is what wakes me up. It kind of puts me ahead of people because everyone's asleep.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what? I take that back. I can't really see myself doing evenings because I feel like everyone's there, and I just like being in an empty spot. You know what I mean? And it kind of makes me focus on myself and not really like what's around me. So I don't know. I think just adding more things in my routine or putting things out of it and putting new things in, like using more of the kettlebells. Something that I was never able to do before the pandemic, and I started learning, like actually being able to do was push-ups, because I was a fairly way bigger guy back then than I am right now. So now that I can do push-ups, I want to do setups or like chin-ups. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's the goal. I never been able to do them. So
I'll move the camera over here, change the angle.
Yeah.
Let me spotlight for you.
I've never been able to do, chin-ups or anything. So just like push-ups, I'm gonna try to do that this year and see if I can actually do them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like over time it'll get easier, just like push-ups. If that makes sense.
All right.
And it's really rewarding. You know what I mean? When you learn something new, whether it's like an exercise or like a new skill in general, where it's like technology-wise or physical-wise, it's probably like the best thing, like the best feeling, right? Because then you're like, damn, I want to learn more. I want to do like okay, I learned how to Photoshop. Now I want to learn how to do like my audio mix, or I want to do audio mix. Now I want to do more editing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And then all those things just contribute to one another. That's what I'm saying. Like, look, right now I'm doing balancing, right? Let's say some person's doing the same thing I'm doing right now, like theoretically speaking, and now they're like, damn, like I actually could do a pull-up now. And then like, okay, let me go to like this rock climbing gym. And then now they're doing rock climbing. Next thing you know, they're probably doing some parkour or some shit. It's like it all plays like it's like a foundation where you start on. Mm-hmm. It's like a chain reaction. Now you're doing some other crazy shit that you never thought you would be doing from that day onwards. So I guess time will tell. I don't want to say exact goals, but just try new things. I think in the gym and stuff and outside.
So being more like open and curious.
Open and curious, yeah.
Like those are the things you want to work on.
Yeah, because when I started doing like push-ups and things like that, I was like, man, I'm not gonna be able to do it. Like your arms feel kind of like a worm, like a wet noodle.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what I'm gonna have to go through for like these other new things I'm gonna try. But it's gonna be worth it because once you know how to do that, you're gonna be able to like add like a twist to it and stuff. And same goes for my editing skills, man. Like I want to learn how to do like way better stuff, like make smooth transitions. Add some just add some After Effects to it. I mean, that's what Adobe's for, right? You're paying good money for it. Might as well make the best out of it. And there's plenty of resources when it comes to working out and on YouTube, and like for also like Adobe stuff. There's so much things you can find on YouTube, dude. So whether it's working out or like online set of skills, you're set, bro. Just look it up. It's on the palm of your hands.
I feel like nowadays you have no excuse. Like you legit have no excuse because the pandemic hit. And everybody started learning new things. Everybody started making their own businesses. Everybody started, trying out different things. They're getting out of their comfort zone.
Definitely.
And, like you don't like. I said this in like one of my videos, my own like personal account. I'll show you later. But I was talking about like learning, like looking back at like, in our time, like middle school, elementary, like you could not take online classes and just learn. Like YouTube wasn't really big during that time. So like nowadays you can like look up something and it'll give you like a quick response, suggestions. It'll be whether video, you'll find it on like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. There's so many platforms out there that give you this free information. You don't have to go only to a library just to read about it.
You can literally learn everything in college. Now I'm not telling you to drop out, but I'm just saying you can literally learn everything that you learn in college on YouTube, man. Like literally, like you got literally professors on college like, watch this video, then take this quiz. It's like, all right, where's this video at? You look at it, it's YouTube.
Dude, like,
so it's like, all right then, like
even they know that it's free.
It's making their job easier,
Yeah, it's like it might as well, like, and we're not like advocating to drop out, but if you just want to save money and like, you know, everyone depends on your situation. Some people just genuinely don't like school. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
Just as long as you're happy with what you're doing.
Or, you know, if you're going to school and you're going to take computer science, just you know, you can take YouTube courses online and learn and then be kind of prepared, impress your professor. You're like, oh, dang, you know how to do this? Like, this is a beginner class. Like, oh, yeah, you know, I went on YouTube. It's like a good first impression if that's what you're into, so.
Dude, like, even just speaking about free stuff, there's stuff like you can get a couch for free on Craigslist, bro.
Yeah.
Like, Facebook Marketplace.
Just
like,
be careful on Craigslist.
Like, yeah, obviously you've got to be cautious, but, you know, there are some people that are just giving stuff for free.
Yeah, genuinely.
Like, it's either they're moving out or they have something way better, and they're just trying to get rid of it. Like, you can honestly just get a couch the next day.
It's
or,
insane.
like, you can just drive over. It just, if you're willing to put in the work.
Yeah, or you could like do resale, like, you know, sometimes some people do, you know, with sneakers, you know, like us. I'm a sneakerhead myself, so it's, you know, sneaker culture.
Yeah.
You could do OfferUp, you could do like GOAT, you know, StockX, and you know, those are big. You know, if you're really committed to it, you can make a lot of money to it, you know. But that's a commitment you gotta make. But it's very fun if you're into it. So.
I mean, as long as you're passionate about it and you're willing to like put in your own time, because like most of the stuff, like, it's really hard for something to be actually free.
Yeah.
Because like it is free, but there is some sort of price, you know.
Of course.
So there are some that are like they just don't ask for anything, which is totally understandable. But like, if you really want to get something, you gotta go get after it.
Of course. So yeah, man, use the internet. That's literally your biggest tool set right now, and it probably will be forever.
Dude, like,
I think something I would like to.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Go.
Speaking of the internet, you want to talk about something real quick?
What's up?
What's your thoughts on the Metaverse? Are you concerned about this? Because I kind of have my own visions of how it's going to turn out, and I'm kind of concerned.
I am a little concerned just because of what we don't know about yet.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, a lot of people weren't sure about like Google and Amazon, and now look where it is today. Like, it's got that reputation now.
Yeah.
Only time will tell, but I feel like it's going to be more beneficial to us because so many companies are already looking into it.
For sure.
And like a lot of people are now using digital stuff. So now it's kind of we're slowly adjusting to it.
Yeah.
Like a smoother transition compared to people that didn't know what the internet was when it was first introduced.
Yeah.
Like we still have like knowledge. Like every kid knows about the internet.
Yeah.
We just need to now go to the next level.
For sure.
With it.
You know, the reason I say concerns.
Yeah.
it's because, like, you know, I mean, Mark Zuckerberg doesn't have the best reputation, of course, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, I kind of don't like the idea of my friends always being, you know, with the goggles on, and they're like, come on, dude. Like, I feel like I'm the guy to resist that.
You're gonna think it's like player one?
Yeah.
Ready, player one?
Hold on a second.
You also got 1 minute. Just
All right,
heads up.
I'll wrap it up. I feel like, you know, I'll be the one guy who isn't using Metaverse, you know, aside from profit-wise, right? I'm the one guy who doesn't want to be in there every day because I kind of want to be stimulated by real life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of feel like I'm afraid that some friends will be like, come on, dude, just join in, because I'm scared that I'll probably be addicted to it, you know? So I think my goal is to, like, stay away from it, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
because,
fair enough.
I don't know, it just seems like something that's going to take away your life. Like, next thing you know, you're like 60, you're like, oh, yeah, I did all these cool accomplishments. All right, cool. In real life, it's like, no, I did it all in the Metaverse. It's like, oh.
All right, with the quick minute, I know we didn't get too much into it, but we will have Christian in more episodes. This isn't the end.
Yeah. It's my fault for starting it late, but
no,
it just came out.
We got more ideas, so we're gonna go off that one in the next one. But
interesting. Yeah.
Before we end it off, me and Christian, we've been working on this project. We haven't told anybody really, but we finally got it out. So we like to introduce it to everybody. If you haven't noticed, we have our own ebook. That's right. Me and Christian made our ebook. It's called Things We Regret, and it sounds a little dark, but it's actually like very thought-provoking and very helpful. You can find it now on Kindle.
Oh, shit.
And you can find it on Gumroad. We're still getting some details worked out, but that's just one of our projects. Look forward to more. Christian, it was a pleasure having you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here.
Have a great rest of your day, everybody, and we'll see you in the next one.
Peace out.